let's talk about our speaker a moment. Our Lieutenant Governor needs no introduction. You know, he spent 6 years as a House rep. He also spent 6 years as a senator working hard for the people of Missouri, and now he's our 47th Lieutenant Governor. What I like most about Mike and his background is he's a small business owner, like many of you. He is a third-generation farmer. He's got an active farm going on. And so he understands the challenges that all of us face in these economic times. And so the fact that we've got him today is certainly a privilege and an honor. And would you take a moment and welcome our Lieutenant Governor, Mike Parson.
Thank you very much. It is great to be here in Columbia today, and what a beautiful day out there. I got to make a couple of real quick introductions, though, because they don't get to come with me very often. So my wife's with me today. Teresa, just say hello to everybody here. And another young lady that's got the whole world in front of her, my granddaughter, who just graduated out of high school last weekend. Alicia's with me today. She has been driving me around today, and she takes that job very seriously about staying on time. Whatever it takes, she can stay on time. Trust me. I would suggest hold on if she's the driver on that. Before I get started on any of my comments today, I do want to say this, and I know the media is here and they've asked me questions already in the back of the room, but with all the distractions going on in the state of Missouri this year, I want to tell each and one of you today one thing that I'm so proud of. And that's your legislators. And I know they got a quick introduction, but let me tell you something. The representatives and the senators of this state, with everything else going on, kept their heads down, doing the hard work for the state of Missouri, and doing things to make this state better for the citizens of this state. And I'm so proud of the job they did in Jeff City this year. You know, I had a great opportunity to go out to the 911 facility this morning here in Boone County. Got to go that and be an old sheriff. That was kind of fun to go out there and take a look at that. But man, what a facility! You guys, I'm just so fortunate to have a facility like that in the state of Missouri, to be a model for so many other towns and cities. But I was totally impressed with that facility. I get to take another little tour of a veterans loaning institution this afternoon. I know got a few people work over there. Is that right, Greg? A few people work over there. You know, my wife retired out of banking after 40 years, and when I seen it on my schedule, I was going to go there, and I thought, well, this is going to be like a bank, I guess. You know, something like that. And they told me today, they said, well, yeah, it's kind of like that. Only got about 2,500 employees out there. I said, okay, it was good. I'm ready to see that. They're helping veterans, so I'm always glad to do that. One of the things that I want to talk to you today, and I'll do a little bit of wrap up at the end of it about the session, but I really would like to get into the Buy Missouri program that we initiated through the Lieutenant Governor's Office. I've been so proud to be able to do that. And have just got some great people that work for me at the Lieutenant Governor's Office that have put this together to present this across the state of Missouri. But one of the things I found as I traveled across the state of Missouri, when I was campaigning for Lieutenant Governor, and then as my duties as a senator and now as a Lieutenant Governor, there is thousands upon thousands of businesses in the state of Missouri. And we are probably not very aware of the businesses that make Missouri products. And me and my wife found ourselves in that situation that we didn't realize in our hometown stores in Vandiver, Missouri, where we're from, or a hardware store or a feed store, that those Missouri products were on the shelf. We just didn't know enough to look. Because we went, and I'd say like most of you, we go to the stores, we do our shopping, you kind of find an item you like, or you look at the price of it, or for whatever reason, and you buy it. But what we soon found out is we need to do a better job as Missourians helping one another out without a government program, without it, other than just us as individuals to help people. And what I really found out is that people that work in a lot of these businesses across the state of Missouri are just hardworking Missourians. And they're very proud of what they make in this state and how they do it. And as I talk to people from the Boot Hill area to Kansas City to here in Columbia, one of the businesses we showcase is here in Columbia. But as you talk to them, we started realizing the employees had this desire too. Well, I'd like to help those other Missouri employees out that's making a product that I can buy. And so that's kind of how Buy Missouri come about, and how we wanted to promote it, and how we wanted to make you, as the customer, to think of that. Me and Teresa were doing a fall foliage trip one time, a few years ago, and we went to the state of Vermont. It's kind of where I've seen it the most. And when you go into a Vermont store, it's almost Vermont in your face. As soon as you walk in there, they're talking about Vermont. They're talking about their products, what they make in their state, and why you should buy it. And when you go down the grocery store line, it's very easy to identify this is a Vermont product. And we want to take that to Missouri to do that. So with that, let me just talk about Missouri, Buy Missouri a little bit, and some of the everyday products that are made that you might think of. And I'm going to name a few companies. These are just a few we have that we highlight. Gilster Mary Lee in Perryville, Missouri. Now, most of you, I don't know if you're familiar with that company or not, but they have a company in Perryville, Missouri. The mother company's there. They have a company in Colorado, and they have one in Illinois that they make. But they make 80 different kinds of breakfast cereal that more than likely is in your stores every day. Now, the good part, if you want to take that one step further, they get all the product from the boot hill. The rice and the corn and everything that comes from those making those breakfast materials come from the boot hill. And that guy is a true believer in Missouri, so he tries to spend his money in Missouri every day. And that's one of the businesses I thought, how do we get the help with do that? And that's just a few of their items. They make, I think, like 400 or 500 different items, but 80 different breakfast cereal items. Diamond Pet Foods, very interesting company in Meta, Missouri. And they ship pet food all across the world, everywhere. And almost, I would say, in your Walmarts, your grocery stores, your feed stores, a lot of times they're going to have Diamond Pet Food within that store. And some of you maybe use that and don't even think about it being a Missouri product. But they're in Meta, Missouri. They employ, I think, close to 300 people at that plant, hardworking Missourians, to go through there and to make that product every day. Quaker Windows and Doors, down in Freeburg, Missouri. Another company that has about 900 employees that work there. They're the only company in the United States that make wood, aluminum, and vinyl windows, commercial and residential. So, now me and Teresa just built a house. I call it the last hurrah. More houses. But yeah, it's called the last hurrah. So we've kind of tried to do, we're going to put practice what we preach a little bit, per se. So we went out there and we said, okay, we want to buy Missouri windows. We want to buy Missouri doors. We want to buy Missouri hardwood. We want to buy Missouri stone. And all those things we soon found out with a little bit of research, you could find them. And we do have Quaker windows in our home. I'm not here to do a Quaker window commercial because there's other window companies in the state of Missouri. But we had the opportunity to ask for it. Because normally what happens, somebody comes in, they contract your home or contract your business, and they tell you a price of what the windows cost or what the doors are. You don't really take that next step forward and say, wait a minute, is there a Missouri business here that provides that? And if so, we can do that. If we continue to do that, such as Diamond Pet Food, numerous others that you can mention, that's how we help the economy of the state of Missouri. Me and you do that. That's not government doing that. That's just me and you take the initiative to try to help one another out across the state of Missouri. And it's a very simple process. And you sit around and think, well, how come we ain't done this before? You know, well, I don't know why we haven't done it before, but I know why we can today, because now we know about it. And all we need to do is help our chambers and our community leaders and business leaders like you try to help one another promote your own businesses on that. Chase Candy Company out of St. Joe, Missouri. Revenue up there is $3 million up there, and half of which comes from the sale of cherry mash. And how long has cherry mash been around? Longer than I can remember. I'm sure it's probably older than I am, I think, so it's been around a while. You know, Hendrickson Dressing in St. Charles, Missouri was another little interesting business. And salad dressing, for some of you that are familiar with that name, but they ship at about 80 different locations across the United States. And I was touring the plant one day, and I was talking to them up there, and I was going through the manufacturing side of it where they were filling the bottles, you know, and the labeling was going on. And I said, by the way, I said, where do you get your bottles at? He said, well, that comes from a little company outside of Kansas City, Missouri. And I said, well, what about your labels? He said, well, our labels come from another company north of St. Louis that provide all that for that. So almost all of their product, the glass, the labeling, all comes through in the state of Missouri. Fitz Bottling Company is another great company. If you're measuring Fitz Soda, that's always a very popular one that we're doing. Up there, Hammond's Products, that's kind of down in my world, down around Stockton Lake. In Stockton, Missouri, is the largest producer of black walnuts in the world. So when you go buy black walnuts somewhere, more than likely it's coming from that little town in Stockton, Missouri. Hammond's Black Walnut Products are there. 25 million pounds of black walnuts annually that they get out of the state of Missouri and the surrounding areas where they buy that. And I could go on, you know, you got Burger Smokehouse. Most of you are familiar with Burger Smokehouse. Grove Salsa was another interesting company down in Springfield, Missouri. Grove Salsa come out of Super Bowl Sunday. It was two young couples that have a lot of people over, friends for the Super Bowl, and they would come over and they would make salsa that day for all their friends and everything. And everybody says, you know what? You guys should start selling that. You know, that's really good. That's really good. And lo and behold, in a little bit of time, they started marketing Grove Salsa, and they are now in several different stores, grocery stores, Hy-Vee, different kinds of stores in Springfield and around the state of Missouri in that area on that. So just to highlight a few of them. And then, have we got a video we're showing today?
Phase 2.
Phase 2, all right, phase 2 on that. So really what our goal was today is what I talked to you briefly about, is just make people aware of this, and how do we keep promoting this through the state of Missouri to do our part to do that, so you know. Now, and I'll get to that a little later, but everybody will ask me, when I get done, or somebody will ask, where's the list? And we're going to get to that here eventually, but where's the list of all these Missouri products, which we are in process of developing that, so you'll know on that. But that's important that you know that. When we did phase 1, we traveled around the state to St. Charles, Kansas City, Springfield, Columbia. We was actually here at Shakespeare's Pizza, right here in Columbia, Missouri. Was one of the places we kicked that off with right here, which is an interesting story within itself, right here in your hometown on that. So, and then phase 2 is we just really want to get a database. We want to start building a database to the Lieutenant Governor's office where you can simply go in there to a website and be able to find that information out of what's there. Actually, Southwest Baptist University, kind of my hometown university in Bolivar, we give that as a class project for the students there on their senior project, and which I'm very proud of, and it wouldn't matter which university it was. They developed a program that will be online here shortly that they developed for the Lieutenant Governor's office. So those graduating seniors will have a little place in Missouri's history because they've developed this website that when you go onto it, I want you to know that that was developed by some college seniors, developing that for the state of Missouri on that. So we're very proud of that. So with that, I think we're going to do Fitz. This is Fitz Bottling Company. Let's show Fitz. Let's show Fitz the video of Fitz Bottling Company.
Hi, I'm Michael Alter. I'm the owner and president of Fitz's Bottling Company. At Fitz's Bottling Company, we're famous craft soda makers. Our most popular soda is Fitz's Root Beer. We also produce several other popular flavors, including cream soda, orange pop, grape pop, black cherry, and many others. Fitz's is distributed across the state of Missouri. We have a network of distributors that reach all 4 corners of the state. Fitz's Root Beer dates back to 1947 when it was originally served at a local drive-in restaurant in Clayton, Missouri. After a number of years, the restaurant closed and Fitz's Root Beer sadly disappeared. We were able to track down the original Fitz's Root Beer recipe and reintroduce it when we opened our soda microbrewery here in University City in 1993. At Fitz's, we have 2 operations. We have a bottling company along with a full-service restaurant. At our peak season, which is during the summer, we employ nearly 60 people. One of the best aspects of bottling in the state of Missouri is its location. Because we're centrally located, we're able to deliver and ship our sodas easily throughout the Midwest. We were very excited to learn of the Lieutenant Governor's program to Buy Missouri. We've always felt that buy local was an important feature of our business. We were encouraged that he, along with other Missouri-based companies, were going to work together to further enhance our business not only in the state of Missouri, but reach beyond the state of Missouri under the Buy Missouri tagline.
So that gives gives you an idea how we're promoting companies. Now, I do want you to know the video and everything that you're seeing up here is all produced inside the Lieutenant Governor's office. These are some of the people I got working for me, so they produce all these, and why this is so important. But the reason I showed you Fitz this morning, which is up in St. Louis area, as small businessmen, and we've all been in those shoes before, and women, that you're always wanting to promote your business somehow, some way. And sometimes it's expensive to promote your own business in whatever form you do. But what I have found out also, like Columbia, Missouri would be a no exempt to that. You know pretty well what's in your region, for most part. You know where your businesses are and what they can do. What you don't know is you don't know those businesses in St. Joe, Missouri. You probably don't know the businesses in the Boot Hill that maybe your two businesses can get together and do business with one another. If you just look and start thinking about what does Missouri have to offer that I buy, what kind of supplies that I might buy normally online or from different manufacturers, do I ever think is made here in Missouri? And I think we can help one another out by doing that if we just take the time to focus on that, those type of things for the benefit of Missouri. Now, I do want to talk to you, phase 3, what we would like to do eventually, and hopefully we might do that next winter, during the winter months. But we would like to bring basically a trade show to different stops in the state of Missouri, and we know Columbia would be on that list, to say the least, here in Missouri. But we would like to bring all those Missouri manufacturers into somewhat a trade show emphasis on it, where the people of the state of Missouri could actually go in there over a weekend sometime or at a certain time, could go in there and look at all the products that are made in Missouri. Because what I touched to you today was just based on the retail side. I didn't even touch the manufacturing side of it, which there's all kinds of that, all the way from the F-150, all the way to Toyota. I'm very careful how to say this, your recent history, but Toyota airbags, a lot of those were made here in the state of Missouri. But there's all kinds of businesses like that. I just don't know that we're all familiar with it till we go look. And hopefully, you as a business owner or a small business owner, you might be able to hook up with another Missouri business to do business together, which helps us all in the long run. So that's kind of what Missouri, Buy Missouri is all about. And then the partnerships we got Associated Industries of Missouri, Missouri Agribusiness, Missouri Cattlemen's Association, the Chamber, Department of Economic Development, Farm Bureau, the Grocery Association. I do, however, want to mention to the Grocery Association, we just met with them a few weeks back. They're working on now to be able to help us with the labeling side of it. And we provide a label for any businesses that wants to join into the Buy Missouri program. We provide that label for you to be able to use it on your product. But Missouri Grocery Association is actually going to help us with a mark on the grocery stores. When you go to the grocery store, you're going to have a label on there or identification to say that this is a Missouri product that you're looking at. And I think those are the kind of things that I think we can make a difference if we all work together on doing that. Now, kind of to switch gears from Buy Missouri here just a little bit, I want to talk about the two biggest challenges I think facing the state of Missouri. And I'm talking about businesses, employees behind me, and that's, needless to say, drives the state of Missouri. Matter of fact, 80% of the new jobs created in the state of Missouri are done through small businesses. We spend a lot of time trying to recruit companies to come in here from out of state. And I'm fine with that. I get that on the economic development side of it. But I also think you always got to remember is those businesses are here. That's across the state. When you're talking 80% of them is what creates new jobs, is those local businesses in your local communities. And I think we always need to be able to figure out how do we give them the tools to be successful also, and maybe not just do everything in the world to draw businesses in from out of state, which the state's done that. But for either one of those things to happen, there's two things that has to happen in the state of Missouri. We got to do something about the infrastructure in the state. We cannot keep kicking that can down the road. No matter who's in power in Jefferson City, no matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, we cannot keep pushing that down the road. At some point. And I don't know how to sugarcoat this. I wish I did to you. But it's going to cost something to do it, and the citizens of Missouri is going to have to pay for it. I don't think there's any other alternatives to that. We're going to have to figure out a solution to that, what the best solution to do that. But if you want your airports, you want your highways, you want your bridges, you want your rail, and you want your rivers, we have a tremendous opportunity in the state of Missouri, being in the center of the United States of America, to do nothing but grow, to be the intersection, the big hub for the United States can be right here in Missouri. But we have to think ahead enough to know we got to prepare for that. And for some of you that maybe in my age bracket, the reason we should be doing it, we should be giving that next generation opportunities to have the same opportunities that me and you have. And we should be making a point to make sure we're ready for them, and that we give them what we've had the opportunity, what people's given us is the opportunity to live the American dream, and that's probably all of our opportunities to do that. The other thing we got to do is skilled workforce and workforce development. We have to do a better job of making sure we got quality people that can do the jobs in the state of Missouri, and they have the skills to do it. Now, for years and years, most of us, the old hard dink work that I've called it, like when I grew up, whether you're hauling hay or whether you're working in a gas station, whether you're fixing a tire, that old hard, dirty work has changed. A lot of that's now done by computers. A lot of it's now done by robotics. All different things, but we got to make sure we have a workforce prepared to fill those positions. And I travel across the state of Missouri. There's one thing I hear, and I don't care what part of the state you're in, whether you're in southwest Missouri, southeast, northeast, everybody's looking for employees, and we don't have them. And if you take a look at Kentucky, you take a look at Indiana, you take a look at Tennessee, they've been spending money, they've been providing that workforce development for years, more than we have in the state of Missouri. And we have to start thinking outside the box, and how are we going to meet the demands for those futures? So those are two things that I think, and I'll talk about that here shortly, but I think those are two things that the state did focus on this year. They did get some quality things done on both of those issues. And I think you're going to have some choice to be made as citizens of how we're going to move forward on that. But, you know, one of the things that happened this year, close to $28 billion in the budget for the state of Missouri. One of the things that sometimes that we talk about, whether you cut education or whether you don't, there's always an argument to that every year since I've been there. It's a discussion, how much do you fund, how much do you not? And that's always a balancing act, because at the end of the day, you got to balance the budget. But I think this year was a perfect example when we reinstated some of the money through higher education. That we went out there and restated it. We actually fully funded the K through 12 education formula for the first time in years that we actually done that. The emphasis on that is the education is just what I talked about. We cannot sit around and you cut education and not allow them to have the tools they need to meet the workforce and the skilled workforce demands. We got to figure out how we're going to fund that to meet those demands in the future. And I think those are some of the things that are important. We even discussed the gas tax issue this year in the state legislature. It looks like that's going to have an opportunity to vote on the people of this state. And I hope they really do consider this. And I hope the state of Missouri has a good plan to present to the public of how we're going to utilize that money, how we're going to spend it, what jobs are going to be done. Because I can tell you this much from experience. The state of Missouri can't go out there and just say, give me a bucket of money. Trust me, I'm going to be all right. Don't work that way anymore. The state of Missouri is going to have to come up with a plan that's going to have to tell you as the voter, you as the citizens of this state, how are we going to spend your money? What projects are we going to do? What highways are we going to build? What airports are we going to redo? Where are they going to be? Are they going to be in Columbia? Are they going to be in Springfield? Are they going to be where? And I think it's up to us as leaders in the state. And I hope all state leaders, especially on the statewide, join me in making these two issues the priority for the upcoming years of how we're going to get it done. But you know, the days of, again, of the no-sayers and everybody saying we're not going to do anything, we need to stop and we need to be leaders. We need to be leaders and find out solutions to real problems in the state of Missouri. So those couple of things that I think are important. The other thing I might talk to you, just go to the 911 center. There was a piece of legislation passed this year had to do with cell phones. You know, another one of those things that gets controversial because all of a sudden you call it tax, or you call it service fee, whatever you want to call it. The bottom line is, if we all would just take a moment to think of cell phones, for example, 80% of the calls that come into your 911 center, 80% of the calls that come into your 911 center here in Boonville, Missouri, is through cell phones. And the cell phones actually doesn't pay for any of that, to speak of. The operator of the cell phone don't. When we put landlines on there years ago, before cell phones ever existed, that's how we funded it. That's how it was supposed to be funded. Well, 20, 30, 40 years ago, none of us in here would have ever predicted what the heck a cell phone was. To be right honest about it. Hate to tell you that, that's how we're dated a little bit. But that is the new wave, and that's going to be the new people that's going to be using these facilities. And at some point, you know, they're going to have to do their job to help support the landline industry, which is a tough industry right now anyhow. So those are some of the things going on. Some of the tax breaks that took place this year with the businesses, I thought was a great pro-business piece of legislation this year, where we're starting to cut the corporate tax down again. Where also the individual tax is going to be going down. I want to say that with a caveat. I'm very familiar with what happened in Kansas, and I sure don't want to go down that road. I'm smart enough I don't want to go down it. But I think when you see the economy like it is in the state of Missouri right now, the economy is turning. The economy's getting better here in the state of Missouri. Some of the things happening in Washington, D.C. are positive when it comes to reform on the tax codes and so forth. And the reason I say that's positive, and no matter who gets credit for it, at the end of the day, when you put about $145 of hard money in the everyday worker's pocket a month, that's going to stimulate the economy, because those people are going to spend that money in the state of Missouri. And that's what you could go from one business to another. You can look at that, and that's a success story. You know, I get everybody to decide who you want to give credit to. I like the president, I don't like the president, I get all that. But at the end of the day, those kind of policies really do make the difference for the economy of the United States, and there's no reason Missouri can't help with that when it comes to helping individuals, when it comes to tax codes. Because I can tell you this, you're much more efficient with your money than what we are in Jeff City. That is one thing I can almost commit to you, that you're more efficient with it than what we are. So you need to keep that in mind in the big picture sometimes of how we do it on that. And I guess we can take a few questions if we need to. I'm not sure what time. If they're easy questions, if not, my granddaughter is here, my wife is here. To be able to answer, if you're going to answer me one. You know, some of the questions that could be asked, let me just say this before I finish up, because somebody might ask this from the floor. What's going on in the state of Missouri? We're all familiar with that. We all know what's happening here. And needless to say, we wish it wasn't happening. I think I would be the first to say that I wish things like this wouldn't happen, because I don't think it's good for the state of Missouri. However, time will take care of this. Time's going to take care of it one way or the other. And I think we all are going to have to figure out when that time comes. But I do know this much, and I said this to a group of people the other day. The state of Missouri is much bigger than any one individual of any of us elected officials. The state of Missouri is much bigger than that. We as individuals is who runs the state of Missouri, not any one of us politicians do. So with that being said, you know, it is a privilege and honor to be the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Missouri. From where I came from to stand in front of you people today, to be able to speak in front of you as a leader of the second highest office in the state, there's nobody more humble than what I am to be here. And for many of you in this room, I've got a chance to know over the years, and a great deal of respect for many of you that are here. Because I know at the end of the day, I love this state, I love the people of this state, because there is good people trying to do good things every day. And we need to emphasize that more often than just all the negative things going on in our state. We need to be talking about the positive things. So with that, it was an honor and privilege to be here. Thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you. I thought maybe he had missed that part. I thought I was going to walk off stage real quick. But he said, do I want to take a few questions? Yes, I do. So, if anybody's got any questions? Yes, ma'am.
You had mentioned the workforce development. Could you list some specifics of how you see solving that problem?
Yeah, I think there's some avenues out there. For example, I'll use an item from Tennessee that I met with the governor and lieutenant governor not too long ago, of how you get people into that workforce, that skilled workforce environment. And for Tennessee, for example, Tennessee now has a program where if you're a Tennessee graduate from their state, high school graduate, if you come back and says, hey, I want to improve my skills, or I want to learn a skill, or I want to go back to a trade school, I want to go to university, they have now come up with a program where they help, the state has, to get them back into a program. The state has took that on themselves. So financially, they're putting that program, basically saying, this is how we do this. And I think the other thing is not getting too far in the weeds, but I think you need to start looking at K through 12. We all do, and we need to be, in my era, you graduated from high school, most people just say, go get a degree, I mean, seriously, and most everybody says, have you got a degree? You know, that was the big thing. I don't think you can do that anymore. I think when you start to figure out what is this degree going to be and what does it mean? Because I'm going to have a significant amount of debt when I get down, or could have. And what is it going to mean when I go out in the workforce? And I think we need to start teaching those high school students more about the workforce. And whether that's teaming up with businesses, whether that's sending them out in programs, and I know they're starting to do that, but I think we need to do more of that. Those are the kind of programs I think you look at. How do you do it early on instead of waiting till somebody's out here and they're 35, 40 years old, then you're trying to redo things. I think it starts early with the education system, and I think you have to start thinking outside the box, K through 12, preparing these young men and women for the workforce. What is their demands going to be? So I think that's one of the ways you can do that. And look at other states that's been successful, you know, through their community colleges, through their universities, or what they've done for the job markets, and that what they're doing. There's no reason we have to really invent the wheel in Missouri, but there's a good program out there. I wouldn't be afraid to go out there and copy it, I guess, per se, or develop it here in the state of Missouri. Yes, Wally?
Yes, sir. University of Missouri Extension, I think, is on the cusp of being ready to help you with those kinds of issues, taking programs, education to all corners of the state. Broadband's a bit of a challenge here in Missouri for a lot of our rural communities, but I hope that you have an opportunity to spend as much time as you have available with a tremendous new leader on campus by the name of Marshall Stewart.
Good. Well, I look forward to spending some time. Let me tell you, the Missouri Extension that Wally's talking about is huge to me. It's huge that, so I'm going to call outstate Missouri, wherever that is. Always somebody says, you're outstate Missouri. I'm not sure where outstate Missouri is yet, but that's how they refer to us in St. Louis, outstate Missouri. But I think you have to look at, the Extension provides a huge service, especially for rural Missouri. I mean, it's huge in all our communities back there. So I've always been a big fan of the Extension, even when there was a little controversial issues in Jeff City one time over the Extension service, so I don't want to get in trouble with some of the leaders here. But the bottom line is, I'm a firm believer in Extension and what it does for people, for everyday people, plus just the education opportunity gives to people that don't have that availability to do that all the time in those small towns across the state of Missouri. Yes, sir.
So the chamber took a delegation of members out to DC a few months back, and one of the items that we discussed with a lot of the elected officials out there was the I-70 and the infrastructure road systems in Missouri.
Right.
It was interesting, we even got some comments back that the federal government had known the interstate road system in the state. And so funding is going to be a challenge. You touched on that. There's a couple of things. I think that anything from the federal government moving forward is going to be a public-private partnership of some sort. What is your vision for what that may be?
Yeah, I think there's huge opportunities. I still think there's a huge opportunity to draw a lot of money down from the federal government. But the more, we got to help ourselves too. You just can't sit around and wait for the federal government to bail you out. People try that all the time. That's not a real good plan sometimes, I can tell you. I think we got to pay for it. For me personally, I think you pay for it at the pumps. That's the way the Constitution of the state of Missouri was set up. The Constitution basically said this is how we're going to fund our infrastructure in the state of Missouri. And that was passed years and years ago. We have one of the lowest fuel taxes now in the nation. And every time somebody's crossing our state, we're paying buku bucks to them in their state, or a huge amount of money. But they're coming across Missouri, skating at a pretty cheap interval. So, and I think that's the way to do it. I do. Now, there may be some other little things you can do to create funding, but I think the bulk of it has to come from the uses of it. And somebody asked me that today, and they asked the same question, well, what about our seniors, And of course, I'm an advocate for the seniors. The Lieutenant Governor's office is one of the jobs I do have. But the reality of it is, somebody like me, I drive 50 to 75,000 miles on my own vehicle a year. So I pay, because I'm using the infrastructure. I'm using the roads. I should pay more. If you take somebody that's a senior and they live in our little communities or live in town, they're probably not going to drive so much, and they're not going to pay so much. I just think it's a pretty fair way to do it. So for me, I think that's the way to do it. And I think you can implement that over a period of years that we can handle it in Missouri. Now, and it's tough for a Republican up here telling you, I'm up here supporting some tax, That makes a lot of my colleagues nervous real quick. But the truth of the matter is, there is some things you did. And for you guys that are a little bit on the history buff side, I might tell you who the last person was to do that. How many of you know which was the last governor to pass that? One of the most conservative governors you've ever had.
John Ashcroft.
John Ashcroft, Governor Ashcroft. He He did it twice in his term, and if you go back and talk to John Ashcroft today, it will be one of the things that he will tell you is one of his accomplishments that he did for the state of Missouri. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't get on the list quite as much as I do, but I haven't fell off it yet, so I'll keep plugging away. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how many electrical coal-fired power plants we have in Missouri that are shut down, but I think there's quite a few. I think the state of Missouri needs to bring those back online. I mean, we need to put our house in order, because if we have an ice storm, now we have to rebuild from Callaway to Columbia to get our power here if we have an ice storm.
Yeah.
If we have our powerhouse running, we can then build from our powerhouse out to our communities. That's a horrible thing to see I'm going to say $300 million coal-fired power plant shut down, and especially when you're looking at a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt Missouri cannot work with Callaway alone. I mean, you know, most of our energy comes from coal, is where it comes from, and I think our state's like 80% dependency on coal, so, and that's not going to go away quick. There's no simple solution to that. But I think when you talk about that, you also have to look at a national level and think of what that does on a national scheme. But that is just a part of our energy here. And, I mean, I'm a fan of alternative energy, I am, but I'm also practical of things. You know, when the state of Missouri depends of 80% of its energy from that source, you know, there's no other way to replace it. And if you do replace it, at what expense? You know, and I think that's one of the things you got to do. You got to understand, I think for me and for you as just individuals, you know, utilities are going to go up. I don't think there's any secret about it. The question is how much? And how do we make sure we do our part to try to maintain it as cheap and energy efficient as they can? Because just things have a tendency to do that. So, thank you very much for having me.
Something special. I know that when you travel around the state, you get a lot of unique gifts given to you as tokens of gratitude for your speaking. But today is awful special because this dovetails right into your Buy Missouri talk. And we have something rather unique for you. You dress really, really well, and I know your wife and granddaughter have a lot to do with that.
That is true.
But we have something for you. We have Como socks, and these are made right here at the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And you can be assured that you're the only state office holder that will have a pair of these. And so we'd like to present these to you.